Hey everyone, today I am going live. It is Saturday, April 18th. It's 4:15 and I'm just bored and want to go live. If you're new to my channel and you're new to YouTube in general, when someone goes live, they're just streaming right from their computer or phone. So what's going to happen is other friends of mine might pop in and they might ask questions. They might join along. So today I'm going to talk about a few different things. One of them is going to be my most recent rib video and Traeger. Another thing I'm going to talk about is my brisket series. We are waiting for part 5 to finally be released. And then finally, I'm going to talk about offset smokers. So as I talk about these topics, like I said, Daddy Dutch Barbecue Kent is in the house. And this is how a live stream normally goes, where all of a sudden you have friends pop in and they get to interact. Like Charlie from Pickles Barbecue. How are you guys doing tonight? Or tonight, 4 o'clock? You know, to get this live stream going properly, you need to have good beer. Today, this is Bloodline from Flying Dog. I don't know if you guys out in the middle of the country, Colorado, or is it Illinois? No, it's not Illinois. It's Missouri, right, Kent? I always get it wrong. Throw out where you guys live. I need a... The reason I never remember is I'm always drinking when I'm hanging out with you guys. That's the way you roll. Cheers, everybody. All right, so once again, Traeger versus Weber. I don't know if you saw my most recent video, but Weber, this blows my mind. I spent $60. The girl wanted 80. All right, so rule number 1, whenever you buy something off of Craigslist, if the price is $100, only bring 80 or $60 in cash, right? Because when you get there, you want to make that deal with that person. Well, I got 60 right now. The bank's not open right now. Maybe I could come back in a few days. They're going to take the cash right then and there. It's the only way I operate on Craigslist. If you show up someplace, do not have the amount they want for it in cash. Number 1 negotiating skill. There you go. Happy Saturday. I hope you learned something. But anyway, I bought that Weber for $60 and I paid $800 for that Traeger like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been a good smoker, pellet smoker. But it definitely has let me down a handful of times. And I just wasn't sure if any of you guys, anybody else has had that issue with their Traeger, but I know Dash, he was mentioning he's had the same type of trouble with his smaller Traeger. Ricky, howdy. Hope you're doing well. Staying out of trouble. We're drinking a beer. So with my Traeger, I'm trying to figure out, and Pickles and Ken and Ricky, let me know, should I do 3 years a video of owning a Traeger for 3 or 4 years? And kind of give an honest review. Do you think that video would be something people want to watch? Because, you know, if I had to score my Traeger, I would say I'd score it at a, C+. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the brand Traeger. I love their community, and I love the interaction with their community. But it's like buying a Honda. You can buy a Honda that runs for 1 million miles, or you can buy a Honda that craps out at you at 60,000. It's nothing that Traeger did in particular. It's just that style. The electric box might have just been a little faulty on mine. I'm not blaming Traeger for that. That's just the way things work sometimes. I bought a Dodge Ram and my friend told me, oh, you're going to have nothing but problems. Guess what? I haven't had one single problem with that. Same thing with other brands. So you just never know. And I just feel like my Traeger has never steered me right. In Your Mouth Barbecue, what is going on? What are you doing today? And more importantly, what is everybody drinking out there? Excuse me. All right. So Charlie, you kind of said it. I should do that. I don't want to come down too hard, but I will say I used the Traeger Ironwood 885, and that thing was a beast. I absolutely love that. Ooh, wine, Ricky. I like your style, bro. All right, I'm new to the pellet thing, but I would do a review on that. Yeah, and it's not opening, or assembly. It is. I've owned this thing for a long time. Here's, I think, my biggest disappointment is I had an offset stick burner, which I absolutely loved. I paid like $180 for that thing, and I used it every freaking weekend. And then we bought a boat, and I was like, I want to be able to leave it for hours at a time going. So I was like, I might as well buy a Traeger to get this done because you just got to push a button. Well, I have friends like that Ironwood 885. You push a button, and that thing does exactly what you want it to do. With my Pro 22, pushing a button I've always had a baby bird in my Traeger, and I just can't stand that. I put a brisket on, went out crabbing for a few hours, came back. It had just shut off. Pellets were in there. There was nothing wrong with it. It just, the electrical box said, oh, we're just going to shut off right now. And every time I tried to get out and do something, it seems that's when my Traeger would all of a sudden run out of pellets, even though I swear to God I checked it. So I've never been able to walk away from my Traeger like the way I want it to be able to walk away from it. Fancy Miller Lite. That's right, Charlie. So that's where my bias against Traeger kind of comes from. And oh well. But like I said, there are some really good ones. All right, so I'm in the middle of a brisket series that is taking forever. What I'm curious about on this pellet grill, I don't know what a LER code is. Oops. With my brisket series, we started this back in January. Number one, I thought as a backyard barbecuer, I smoked a pretty good brisket. But what I've learned is I am still in my infancy of knowing things about brisket and cooking a proper brisket. And we talked about this a few times. The worst part about cooking a brisket on YouTube is everybody will murder you in the comments, no matter how you slice it. You can slice it the way Harry So did, who's a competition champion. But no matter how you do it, somebody's like, that's not how you do it. What are you doing? What are you, an amateur? Yes, I'm an amateur. I'm not a pro. So it's the strangest thing to me how cooking a brisket, which we devour, like there's none left. Our friends crush this brisket every single time. But still, brisket is, I'd have to say, brisket and ribeye are the top two where no matter how you do it, you're going to get the critics on you ASAP. But that's okay. And I'm glad because there are some things I picked up and learned about cooking brisket, cutting brisket. So I did pick up a lot of information and it has enhanced. For example, taking off more fat or the silver skin. We have a towable smoker we use that produces perfect brisket every single time. Now, you can leave a lot of the fat on. You can leave the silver skin on, and it's just going to be crisp on the outside, and you're going to cut right through it, and people don't even taste it. And now, after doing all this, I am starting to trim my briskets more and more because you're not going to lose that much by trimming it up and doing it more of a competition style than leaving that stuff on. And God forbid you do leave a tough piece of silver skin on and you're at a picnic and someone's, trying to half spit out some of your brisket. So the amount of loss is so minimal, you might as well clean it up. So that is something I've learned and have started to do when changing up my briskets. So I'm glad that happened. Pro tip, take a picture beforehand to remember which way the grain runs. You're absolutely right. I make that notch in the side, Charlie, and still every single time I start slicing it the wrong direction. And I'm like, oh, crap. But what kills me is when I do follow the notch is then you go to someone else's page and they're slicing it right down the middle. But then they were giving you crap about it earlier. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I trimmed the. Yeah, I'm gonna start trimming it more and more, Ricky. Does bother me. Let them maybe learn something. That's true in your mouth barbecue. Some people look for competition style, but way too much loss for the backyard. That's what I'm saying, Charlie. That's what I'm saying. So the next few, I might trim up more, but I also might go back to my lazy ways. So why haven't I been able to release part 5 of this brisket series? I can't find a brisket. I have a brisket in my freezer that is from the cow I bought in October. So I'm actually really anxious to cook that up. But I want part 5 to be Costco versus Walmart. Now, I can get a Walmart brisket, but since we're dealing with COVID, all my friends that go to Costco, because there's not one close to me, it's about an hour away. When they go, they have not been able to find a Costco Prime brisket. And that's really the one I want to do. I almost bought a $150 brisket off of Crowd Cow to do like Crowd Cow versus Walmart. But I want to do Costco because I think Costco and Walmart is probably the two places most people get their briskets. So I really wanted to put them neck and neck. I might have to cave and buy a Wagyu brisket, but I really don't want to. Charlie, do you ever do full packers? Because that's the only brisket I cook. I've never done a flat. I've never done a point. I've always done both of them combined as a full packer. Restaurant Depot. Ricky, where do you live again? Because I know we have one in Baltimore, but Baltimore is kind of the hot spot of Maryland. Well, sort of. Well, I live on an island. We're pretty isolated. And even though I think this whole thing has gotten a little bit out of hand, I'm definitely not going to Baltimore because that's where John Hopkins is, and that's where like everybody gets treated for COVID in Maryland. Richmond. Okay, that's right. We've talked about that. Yeah, I think there's a Restaurant Depot in Baltimore, but I guess I'm kind of being a little bit chicken, and I don't know. I might have to look it up online. But if you do find anything from like a Crowd Cow, because I know Tommy from the Gallery Backyard, he just got a Crowd Cow point. He said the price wasn't really that bad because they give you $25 off your first order. So that was pretty cool. So that's been holding me up. And plus, I got to borrow my friend's towable smoker because everybody saw with my dry age video that the Traeger just took a big old crap and could not produce a brisket. And that's where Dash and I were talking about it, how to not produce a brisket Traeger. Way to go. All right, excuse me. This bloodline's pretty good. It is 7% alcohol volume, so a few of these are going to have me run around the neighborhood just in my underwear. So it's going to be a great afternoon, people. All right, let's talk about offset smokers. I bought the Traeger because I want to just push a button, right? Just push a button, and it's going to cook magical food for you, right? So my offset, cheap $180 offset, sat in the corner getting rust. So I gave it to a friend, and about 2 years later, I really miss cooking on the offset smoker. So what I'm actively trying to do, I am reaching out to offset smoker companies, char griller, and I am just saying, hey, I want to put you up against Traeger. I want to make videos against Traeger versus your offset brand or another brand. But I'm looking for that $200 to $300 price range, which there's not a lot of offsets. I know the steel is thinner, but those are the ones people buy. And I would love to put those up neck and neck against Traeger, things that you paid $800 for or $1,000 for, just to let people know more about offset smokers and how great they can be. Because they're just so much fun to cook with. All right, I'm going to get caught up on the comments here real quick. All right, Harmon Heat, Justin's in the house. Haven't talked to you in since 30 minutes ago. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Dill, I don't like bread and butter much. Yeah. All right, Kent, what do you want to know, Kevin? What do I about the offset smokers? Yes, this is what I'm talking about. So here's my problem, Kent. Here's my dilemma, right? Is I hate asking for things, but can I go spend $300 and it's not going to change my life on an offset smoker? Yes. But I would rather, if I spend that money, I'm going to feel like I need to sell my Traeger. I don't know why, but I'm just going to want to sell my Traeger to cover the cost for buying that offset. But if I ask a company to send me an offset smoker, then I can keep my Traeger and then I can challenge Traeger versus that offset. And I'm going to be real honest with the company. Like, look, just because you're giving me if I got that lucky and they sent me one, just because you're giving me one doesn't mean I'm going to like be biased and say like, oh, this is so much more amazing. But I am going to bring the food in, which my family doesn't know which one was cooked on which. And we're going to give an honest opinion. And I'm going to give my honest opinion that cooking with an offset smoker is amazing in so many levels. Like pushing a button is convenient, but starting that fire, getting that rolling smoke. I like to use wood only. I normally don't mess with charcoal in my offset smokers. So that is where I can bring my passion to the product and kind of push, why I love an offset. But then I did see somebody was doing an offset versus Traeger, and he was, kind of kissing Traeger's, tail a little about how good it was. But he did make a good point. He's like, even though I have both of them, the offset I use once a month and the Traeger I use weekly. So I understand the convenience of pushing a button, but I think there's a huge part of the barbecue community that is missing, or the backyard barbecuer that bought their Traeger and has never had an offset smoker. They're missing that experience, that it might take longer. You might have to baby bird it a little bit more, but it is so worth it. All right. I want to get caught up on Kent because he's, I guess, one of the king offset smokers here. Hell, if they send Charlie a pellet cooker, then they can send you an offset. Yes, Charlie, who do I need to talk to? Oh, your wife bought it. Charlie, what's your wife's number? She can send me a smoker, right? Is that how it works? No, that's not how it works, is it? All right. That's awesome. That's right. Charlie, you did say that. My brother just delivered me one. That's right. Harmon Heat. Justin, I was on the phone with you while he was getting dropped off. He doesn't even know what type of Weber it is. I think it's a Smoky Mountain. But Justin, take a picture of it and put it on Instagram or Facebook. I guess, do you do Facebook for Harmon Heat or just personal? Anyway, go on Instagram, Harmon Heat, and I want to see a picture of this. And Daddy Dutch and Charlie, I'm sure, are going to know immediately which Weber smoker this is. I'm guessing it's a Smoky Mountain, which are pretty sweet, by the way. I got my dad a Smoky Mountain not knowing when I got him, like years ago, and he left it out in the rain all the time, and the thing rusted away. And now I see all these Weber Smoky Mountain videos, and people just absolutely love them. All right, hold on. I need a beer. Who's cheersing with me? Cheers. All right. My beer's getting a little warm. I need to drink faster. All right, what do we got? I wish I got it free from Charlie. Shush, Charlie. That's right. I got to make somebody a moderator in here, default moderators, so they can beat each other up. My best brisket was on a char grill. I believe that, Ricky. I believe that. All right, I got a kettle for $1.27. Good job, Heat. I'm trying to make a point. Oklahoma Joe Highland. I saw that one. I was wondering about that. Hey, Kent, have you seen in Home Depot, if you go to their website, they have this one called Kingsford, like the charcoal? Who makes that? Because I reached out to the charcoal company. I went to their website. That they don't make that. And I don't know if that's Home Depot putting Kingsford on it, and they just developed some prices and everything on there, and they make it and they're just selling it with the Kingsford brand on there, not the charcoal brand, but just the name Kingsford. So, Kent, let me know if you know anything about that smoker, because that looked pretty neat and there's no reviews on it. So I wanted to reach out to that company. I'm telling you all my secrets, but if somebody else can find them and they get a free smoker, thumbs up, do it. I wanted to reach out to that company and be like, look, I want to put you up against Traeger so you sell more product, because nobody can find any reviews on you. And I can't find who makes this. Kingsford, they do not make this grill, even though it says their name on it. That's a different charcoal company. All right, we got Craig Beers from Jack of Barbecue. What's going on, man? You get into that vodka yet? You're a Kettle One drinker, if my memory serves me correct. Kettle One, right? Dutch, I want to make a handful of smokers, and not just smokers. I also want to make a Argentine style open fire pit. You know what I'm talking about. So yes, I want to make a drum smoker, because I definitely don't want to spend like $200 or $300 for what they send you, just literally an oil drum. Well, I could end up doing that, but I would rather make it myself. You got to start doing welding videos, Kent, because I don't know how to do any of this stuff. All right. Cook those chicken wings with a Portex Super Good. Good for you, Charlie. Not yet. Should start around 6 or 7. Yeah, I started a little early. That's why I'm on here, because I had a few beers and I said, what the heck? Let's go see what YouTube's doing. All right. Less than 150. Yeah. I don't know how to weld. I'm talking to my neighbors that do, and we're going to start trying to put some smokers and grills together, and see. I honestly want to see how cheaply I can make it for, especially one of those Argentine style grills. You know what I'm talking about, where it's got the firebox here, the embers fall, and then you spread the embers over, and then you got the hot grill right here. Those things are like $1,600. I don't know if you've seen that, but they're crazy expensive. And one of my friends said, yeah, because they're coming from Argentina. So I think it would be awesome to make that and be able to ship people the steel frame of it, the firebox, the underneath. And then if you do the dimensions correctly, you can instruct people, go to Home Depot, get these pavers. They're not going to be fire brick, but get these pavers that will reflect the heat, and you put them in this direction, and each paver is going to cost you 54 cents. So they got a grill for $200 worth of steel. They go to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick up the pavers for, $25. They got this sweet Argentine style grill that cost them less than $300. But if you go online and try to order one, it's, $15, $16. I've seen some for like $4,000. That makes no sense to me. All right. Okay. UDS. I've seen this, like, what exactly is a UDS? Yeah. Went right over my head. Yes. Pickles, the Nuke grills. That is what I'm talking about. But have you seen the price on them? The price on those Nuke. And the other thing is, once you see, and I saw a couple others on YouTube, and I tried to look up the manufacturer to their website, they're already out of business because people don't buy a $1,500 piece of steel with some fire brick in it. All right. Because at the end of the day, you're going to go, could get a green egg for $800, could get a Traeger for $800. So that's what I'm saying is those Nuke grills. Yes, they are sweet, but they're like the Evos. Have you ever seen one of those Evos, the cast iron flat skillet? They're $4,000. I have a few friends that have them, and it's a nice centerpiece. It's a nice talking point for the first time you go to their house. But after that, you're like, oh, yeah, you got an Evo. Okay, yeah, you cook on it. Cool. I have a Blackstone. It cost me $200 or $280 maybe. That thing does the exact same thing. Is it cast iron? No. Is it amazing? Yes. So that's my point. All right, ugly drum smoker. Now I just feel stupid for not knowing that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for making me feel stupid today. Yeah. No, those are sweet though. UDS, I know the lingo. UDS, come on. I've seen a handful of videos with that. They're awesome. Egg on face. What are you getting at, Craig? What did I do? Anyway, so if anybody's interested in collabing with me on making an Argentine style grill, super cheap, so people could actually ship it and assemble it, and then I think you got to offer two options. All right, you got to offer we'll mail you the pavers with it, but that's going to be way more expensive because that's going to be super heavy. And then the second option would be we'll mail you the steel. You assemble, you run out to Home Depot, you buy the pavers, and here's how you insert them. Woo! I think that'd be really cool. And from everybody I've talked to, they say those Argentine style grills are to die for. And for example, when I was growing up, we'd go to my grandparents right here on Kent Island in Maryland. I lived in Jersey at the time. And all my aunts and uncles would be around. And my grandfather, my dad would run out and he'd get, eye of round. He'd get some cheap cut of meat and he'd put it in a chimney. We had a chimney downstairs on the second floor. There was this brick oven chimney where you could literally cook. It was the coolest thing ever. This brick oven, and they had a rotisserie in there. So like these Argentine style grills, the brick radiated the heat or reflected the heat, and it just encapsulated all this charcoal, wood burn awesomeness. And I think people need more of that in their life. And it was always this family getting together, hanging out, having a wonderful time around this food. And I think more people need to experience that. And to me, that says that Argentine style grill would be pretty cool if people could get it at a reasonable price and recreate some delicious food that the family could talk about for years and years to come. Because I was like 8 years old, going 30 years now. All right, catching up on comments here. I appreciate everybody that's still here. I don't think we're going to go as long as Pickles. Pickles, what is the longest live stream you've done? Because I've checked in on a couple of yours where I check in at the 2-hour mark, and then 6 hours later, I feel like you're still there, which have at it, dude. That's amazing. What's going on with my blinds here? All right. I'm sponsored by No One Asides from Kent. Kent, you can sponsor me next. Still don't know, Craig. Egg on face. Drink another one. You can call it an upright drum smoker too. Some of them ain't ugly. This is true. Well, I don't want to go too long because it is technically nice out, but I do want to, just wrap up. So we talked about the rib video, we talked about the brisket series, and we talked about offset smokers. I think we're just going to leave it there. And if I probably won't be hopping on for a little bit, but I do hope to have a video out probably Tuesday. I am getting my new Rode microphone. That's the wireless microphone. I got it on Amazon. They said they weren't going to ship it till May, but luckily they bumped it up and I'm getting it soon. And I'm looking forward because to me, my audio drives me crazy when you see some other channels and their audio is just super good. So I'm waiting, and I think I need some ideas. So if you have any ideas for a comparison video, I keep going to my Blackstone to do one. I want to make a Molly burger. I don't know if you guys saw that video from Tommy over at the Gallery Backyard, but he made a killer burger, and I kind of want to try that. But I still have yet to do a video with my Blackstone, and I don't know what I was going to compare it against. So there I'm kind of torn. I want to do it. I don't really want to do any. I'll do sous vide videos, but I just don't have any good ideas for it right now. And I feel like sous vide's kind of been played out. Guga has a great channel. I mean, he crushes, but I feel like every experiment is like, all right, seen that. And whenever I'm like, oh, I should do that, I do a quick Google search and it's like, yeah, people have done that. And that's what, and I want new this year. You know that. I've talked about that. So I'm really liking the Weber versus Traeger, but like I said, I want to get my hands on an offset smoker to put that to the challenge. So anyway, if you have some ideas, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. There's plenty of ways to find me. Also at comparisonCooking@gmail.com that, nobody ever emails you anymore. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe Blackstone, maybe that Tommy burger, do a smash burger on the Blackstone and a regular burger on your Weber. Ooh, the worst part is, Craig, I never make a regular burger. I don't honestly think I've made a good regular burger in my life. Isn't that weird? That's a little weird. So I guess we're not ending because Charlie just brought up a really good point. I have had, we cooked it last night, Snake River ground beef, Wagyu ground beef. And I had Beyond Meat, or I still do have Beyond Meat because I can't bring myself to cook this stupid fake burger meat. But anyway, the funny story about the Beyond Meat is I was cooking for one of my dad's parties. He always asked me to cook. And I was doing smash burgers. And somebody, my dad's always like, bring whatever you want to drink and what food you want. Well, this guy brought Beyond Meat to the party. And it literally had the 50% off manager special coupon on it because nobody wanted to buy it. Go figure. Nobody wants to buy Beyond Meat. And I don't know if it can expire because it's not meat and it's all plant-based, right? So anyway, he threw it in the cooler. I was using my ground beef from the cow I got in October. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take this. I'm going to use this for a video. I'm going to do real versus Beyond Meat. And we'll do that for a video. So last night we're cooking up the burgers and I just couldn't bring myself to do the Wagyu versus Beyond Meat. I just didn't feel like doing a video. I just wanted to eat. Probably had a few beers and cocktails beforehand. So didn't want to get all the equipment set up. But I do like that idea. I totally should have done it last night, but I just didn't do it. So that was my bad. Should have stepped up. That's nice comments. For people watching the rewind or the non-live stream version of this, you can click on live chat to see what people are commenting. And Charlie and Craig are pretty damn funny. So anyway, Beyond Meat, couldn't do it. Has anybody had it? And actually, talking about Beyond Meat, if you go to your grocery store right now and the shelves are empty, guess what? Beyond Meat is still there. So for a fact that Beyond Meat, people, their stock might have taken off last year, but people are not buying it off the shelf. And for all my YouTubers out there that are cooking YouTubers, notice what's in the shelf still at the grocery store. Will tell you, I think I've talked about this before, maybe I didn't. Will tell you videos you never ever want to do in the future. If turkey's the only thing in the grocery store, all the other meat's gone, you don't want to start doing videos on turkey because people clearly aren't buying it and they don't need to look up your recipe on how to do it. So take inventory of what is being purchased at the store right now so not to make any videos on that. I think that's pretty good. All right, folks, I'm leaving it there. It's still sunny out. Hopefully the wind died. I appreciate everybody that popped into the live stream. You guys are the best, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.